Nairobi County, and I'm Miss President, Nairobi County. It's an honor and a pleasure for me to join all of you in this important discussion today. Abubakar, hoy!
Thank you so much, Madam President. We have David Simiyu, Doreen Maina, Manasseh Nyainda. You can say hi to us.
Hi. Yes, hi, Sasa.
Oh, Sana.
Yeah, I can see you're fine. I've joined the meeting. Thank you.
Karibu Sana. Michael Kimani, say hi to us.
Yeah, that is me. That is me. I'm saying hi.
Oh, that is Michael. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that is Michael. Yeah.
We have David Simiyu. Okay, we Doreen Maina. Do we have you?
Hi.
Hi, Doreen.
Yes, I'm Doreen Maina, chair from Murang'a County.
Karibu Sana. Manasseh Nyainda and Matthews Jumba. All right.
Hello, I'm Matthews Jumba. I Kano HQ.
Thank you so much. Manasseh Nyainda. Okay, then finally we have Shamim Juma and Sophia Katampoi. You can say hi to us.
Good afternoon, Shamim Juma, Mombasa County.
Karibu Sana. Sophia Katampoi.
Good afternoon, my name is Sophia Katampoi. I'm from Kajiado North. Thank you.
Karibu Sana. So for those of us who have not been able to say hi to us, we have a whole 2 hours as we'll be discussing. You'll have an opportunity to give your contributions. Thank you so much, Washington Ogwell. Karibu Sana in today's discussion. Washington, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Today's discussion, we are going to have a reflection on the state of our multi-party democracy. And this is a build-up of the presentation or a paper that was done by Professor Mukowa Anangwe. And on the paper sought to reflect the state of multi-party democracy in Kenya today. And in the discussion of today, we are going to have a specific reference to KANU Party. How is the state of affairs in KANU Party in this competitive democratic environment, where the paper highlighted that we have 71 political parties that are competing in the political atmosphere. So for today's discussion, after having a general look at the state of our multi-party democracy, we are going to have an in-depth conversation on the state of affairs in KANU Party. And Washington Ogwell, on behalf of Joshua Loach, who will be joining us later, is the one who will be taking us through the presentation, or he will be the facilitator of the day and also the moderator of the day. And at this moment, on behalf of CMD Kenya, I want to welcome you all members. Feel free to engage, feel free to express yourself so that all our contributions can all add up into strengthening KANU Party as one of the political parties in Kenya. This moment, let me welcome Washington Ogwell so that he may proceed from there. Washington, karibu sana.
Thank you, Isaac. I'm so sorry. I kept you guys kind of waiting. I'm in between meetings a bit, but then just as Isaac has stated, the state of multi-party democracy in Kenya today. This was actually one that was done by Professor, and probably I was not able, or rather I'm not going to be able to share it. You'll allow me because actually I'm using my phone. But if I was to go through the outline of the project that we guys had, one was the current state of political parties in Kenya. Then we had got the factors that strengthen or rather weaken the political parties, classification of political parties in Kenya. Then we have the coalitions and of course their impact on the multipartism in Kenya. And of course, lastly but not last, summary of key issues and best practices in multi-party democracy. Now, just to go back, if you heard what Isaac has said, we are going to narrow it down now to us as from KANU. So we are ideally going to be more on ourselves and just talk about our home now. And I've decided, not decided, but then I'm going to have a few of us. And of course, I'm in as a facilitator, but then no, this is for us all. Oscar does not know KANU much better than anybody else. We know this party because it's for all of us. So then I would put it out as an open discussion, but then we could probably in our conversations maybe try to go through directly like through the outline. So probably then if we start with things like the state of our party as at now, and then I think at this time I'd also maybe just bring in Atieno Gola to also maybe chip in before then we move. Atieno.
Yes, thank you for allowing, thank you for that introduction. And so maybe I could just take us through, the outline that you have stated. Sorry. Yeah, I was saying I'll just take us through what Oscar has stated. And first of all, as he has said, that of course right now in Kenya there are 71 political parties, and we've seen these political parties grow over the years. But we know KANU was the actually first political party at the time of, not first, but was the Independence Party from that time till now. And we've seen the participation in various elections. In 2013, we saw that there were 59 registered political parties and 46 of them participated in the general elections. Then in 2017, there were 68 political parties and 41 of them participated. We are seeing it's not all of the political parties that were registered actually participated in the elections that were held in 2013 and 2017. And also, if we look at the levels of participation of active parties, if we look at the 2013 elections, we see that in the presidential elections, only 8 parties participated. And in the gubernatorial, 13 of those parties participated. In parliamentary, 21 participated. And in the county assemblies, 46 of those parties participated, while in 2017, we see that 8 political parties participated. Then the 7 participated in gubernatorial, and then 21 were in the parliamentary. Now, looking at the current state of political parties, we can say that actually generally fewer political parties participate in presidential and gubernatorial races. This is because maybe some political parties do not have the capacity to actually select presidential candidates. I don't know if that is true, but we'll discuss about that. Then we can say that as much as there is a high number of registered parties, the competition for vying, or the ability of all these parties to vie in the in the national elections is not high. So we'll also discuss that. And you can say in 2017, the Jubilee Party and the ODM were the dominant parties in parliament and county assemblies, with Jubilee having 71.1% and ODM having 63.6%. Then therefore we can now ask, are these parties which actually registered taking part in the election process? So if we look at 2013, ODM and the Jubilee coalition controlled parliament and county assemblies, with ODM having 72.1% and the Jubilee coalition, which was URP and TNA, having 85.7% participation. Neither of the dominant parties, ODM and Jubilee, were predominant in the parliament and county assemblies. So then we see, as much as yes, there are many political parties in Kenya, not all of them actually participate fully in the national elections. And therefore we have to ask ourselves, do we really need all these political parties? Because, you know, actually some of them are not really created for the purpose of participating in the national elections, but each party serves its own purpose. But we look at that in an in-depth discussion. Then when we look at the factors that strengthen or weaken parties, we have some intra-party factors, which are factors within the party. For example, party institutionalization. Yes, and this is the process through which a party gets established and acquires stability and value as a political actor. And it is measured in terms of age, electoral stability, legislative stability, and ability to outlive its changing leadership. Now, if we look at KANU as a political party, can we say that our party is strongly institutionalized in the sense that do we have legislative stability and the ability to outlive the current, the current leaders of the party? We will discuss that. And then also there is the socio-political support, which is the basis upon which a party is formed in order to secure particular interests, or it's an expression of key social cleavages. We'll also discuss that in the KANU context. Then we have party organizational complexity and structure. Like, this is the various organs of the party. We'll also discuss that because we know KANU has been in the process of creating various structures for the party. We'll see if these organs have actually contributed to the strengthening of the party. Then as we continue, we also see that party cohesion is important in strengthening political parties. This is because members and the leadership are able to relate well within the party, and therefore decision making and of things that happen within the party are able to move forward in a very peaceable manner. Then we have party ideology, which of course we know for KANU, the ideology is conservatism. And the party ideology provides a predictable basis for key policies and actions in order to acquire a particular political identity that distinguishes it from other parties. So we know, as I've said, KANU as a political party stands for conservatism, and that is what is uniquely KANU. And everything that KANU portrays to the world or to the nation at large is centered along conservatism. Also, as I'm continuing this discussion on the factors that strengthen political parties, we see also political culture can actually contribute to the strengthening or weakening of the party. And the political culture is the pattern of ideas and traditions about the nature and purpose of political authority. This largely shapes the way the parties function. And for KANU, of course, there's a way we do everything. There's a way we structure party documents and all the policies that are created. So this really contributes largely to the way how the party will function. We also have our political and security environment. These are the non-legal aspects about political culture and ethnicization of electoral politics. We know that one of the major issues facing politics in Kenya, of course, it's the ethnicization of electoral politics. So also this will affect how a political party will be strong. And ethnicization of political parties helps parties to mobilize ethnic support easily by exploiting ethnic sentiments, but it also limits their growth and idealization. Sorry. Yes, so if political party is basically centered along one ethnic group or only campaigns along or amongst a certain kind of ethnic group, then of course the growth will not be there, and the party ideology will not be promoted as much. Also, the constitutional and legal environment provides the grounds and justification for the registration of political parties. So, of course, now political parties have to align themselves with the various aspects of the Constitution and the Political Parties Act. So if they sometimes fail to comply to these rules, of course, there can be some cracks, or this can lead to the weakening of the political party. Then, of course, there's the enforcement of the pertinent laws for parties, which is very required to be effective, so that there is no gap between actually the practice of the spirit of the law and the actual practice of political parties. So the various laws that relate to political parties should be enforced so that political parties can be strengthened, and therefore their compliance to the law can be seen. Yes. So now we are going to talk about the classification of political parties in Kenya. How are political parties classified in Kenya? Now, parties are classified in various dimensions, which include maybe how they have a stake in government, their parliamentary strength, their party size, and party ideology, which may contribute to or weaken multipartism. A stake in government gives rise to the ruling parties or coalition on the other hand, and opposition parties on the other hand, that make the multipartism vibrant. So we know that some political parties, of course, will, because they're maybe on the government side, they're the ones who will further government policies, and then the opposition, of course, is always there to check the actions of the party that is in government. Being in government is the ultimate quest for all political parties, because we know, of course, being in government has its own advantages, but being in opposition is also important in order to keep the ruling party on toes and to articulate alternative views. So I don't know if right now in Kenya we can see there's an active opposition party after the handshake and after the formation of the BBI. So we'll discuss about that. Then we know that now parliament is I could say the core of multi-party democracy, and a presence therein could be a basis to classify parties into parliamentary parties and non-parliamentary parties that are not represented in parliament. So of course, another way of classifying political parties, when we say that they are parliamentary parties, these are parties which are actually represented in parliament. Then there are non-parliamentary parties which are not represented in parliament. When I was talking about the state of political parties and their participation in elections, we've seen that not all political parties actually actively participate in the general election. So some political parties do not have representation in parliament. Then as we continue the discussion on the classification of political parties in Kenya, we see that the size of political parties relates to how far it is spread, among the counties, its electoral strength and number of parliamentary seats, and on which basis parties can be classified as either large or small. So a party can be classified as either large or small when you look at its electoral strength, the number of parliamentary seats. For example, now maybe one can assume that a party is strong because it has presence in all the counties, or it's strong because it won a large number of parliamentary seats. Yes, then another way of classifying political parties is looking at the impact of the party size on multipartyism. So proportional representation has equitable outcomes for both large and small parties, while the first past the post favors large parties, which become the linchpins of multipartyism and shapers of political agenda. If we look at proportional representation, it aims at an equitable distribution of the parliamentary seats. Therefore, both the large and the small parties will benefit. But first past the post, which is the Kenyan type of electoral system, favors large parties, because now we hear always the political class talking about numbers, and therefore, if your party is large, it becomes the largest winner of the multipartyism, and it shapes the political agenda for the country. Additionally, we can also say that ethnicity has a role to play in classification of political parties, because we see some political parties are created within some certain or are affiliated to some certain regions of Kenya. So, and we know that ethnicity has become more pronounced in large parties than small ones that tend to be regional or ill-defined ideologically. So we know that some political parties, as I've said, are ethnic and some are non-ethnic, and we will discuss in context whether KANU as a party is a non-ethnic political party. Then now we'd like to talk about coalitions and their impact on multipartyism in Kenya. We've seen certain types of coalitions happen in Kenya, and maybe now we could have this discussion to understand how do coalitions affect multipartyism in Kenya. So first of all, a coalition is a formal arrangement for parties to work together to win or retain power. So a party in the opposition can actually join hands with the party that has won the largest number of seats, so that they can work together or retain power together. And coalitions are a marriage of convenience to overcome individual numerical weaknesses in the legislature. So we know that sometimes, of course, as we've always said, everything that happens in politics is a matter of convenience and not necessarily party interest, but they're saying it's to be able to overcome numerical weaknesses in the legislature. So coalitions can be of different kinds. There is the grand coalition, majority coalition, minority coalition, pre-election coalition, and post-election coalition. So a grand coalition is an all-inclusive of major parties to collectively run the government and share legislative responsibility. Now, as I have explained, all major parties will be involved in a grand coalition so that they can come together to run the government. Then a majority coalition has a majority of seats in parliament, and it is secure enough to transact legislative business on its own. So of course, yes, a majority of coalition means that it's the party which won the largest number of political seats in the parliament, and it will be able to transact legislative business on its own. Then a minority coalition has more than one party, but without a legislative majority. Yeah, so it means that the legislative component of the parliament in the minority coalition is not present. Then the other, as we talk about coalitions, we'll see that there are impacts of coalitions on multipartyism, on which can be either positive or negative. Some of the positive impacts of coalitions on multipartyism includes there's inclusivity, which means all parties are able to come together and parties feel included in the affairs of, in the affairs of running the government. Then there is the moderation of political polarization. There is not too much polarization within political parties. Then there is enjoyment by small parties of disproportionate influence. So at least small parties are able to come and enjoy part of the power. Then there's representation in government of key social cleavages and less antagonistic to non-coalition parties. Then the negative impacts of coalitions are weakening of ideologized politics. This means because now different parties are merging with different ideologies, the substantive ideology will not be pronounced more. And of course, then there's compromised individual party platforms because now parties are working together as one. Then there's denial of opportunity to choose from competing policy alternatives because now parties are joining to form one umbrella. And then it's a recipe for unstable governments, and it undermines the principle of separation of powers in a presidential system. And it also brings about weakening of political parties because political parties will always have to act according to how they have agreed instead of each party having its own stand. So in conclusion, coalitions are generally detrimental to the strengthening of parties. And maybe that will also be up for discussion whether KANU as a political party should consider coalitions in the upcoming general election. So if I could summarize some of the key issues is that there's a continued existence of inactive and non-parliamentary parties. That's a major concern because if we are having more parties or some parties which are not taking part in the general elections, then actually they should be maybe just disbanded or deregistered because they serve no purpose unless they're just a means for some fishy, I could say fishy expedition. So the other key issue is that there is a high turnover and short shelf life of the major parties. This we have seen, like major parties after every electoral cycle are evolving or disintegrate to form others. The parties actually do not remain the same in maybe 4 electoral cycles, but we have seen KANU has been able to be stable, and since independence, it's still existing. Then another one key issue is that there's weak organizational structures and communication processes. Maybe we'll talk about this in an in-depth way and assess whether KANU has a strong organizational structures and communication processes. Then there's the poor enforcement of the laws relating to political parties. Now there's the Political Parties Act of 2011, and it gives a very definite structure of how political parties should be governed, and other subsidiary laws like the Political Parties Code of Conduct, the electoral financing laws. Actually, I could say largely some of these political parties are not in compliance with some of these laws. So this is one of the major issues. And then, of course, the flawed electoral system. We know that many Kenyans feel that our electoral system has various loopholes and they do not trust even the electoral body. So there's a very big issue in relation to the electoral system. And then there's expedient corruption of opposition into government. sometimes or most of the times we see when there is a disagreement, then it's easy to bring the opposition into government so that sorry for that, so that scores can be settled. And it's one of the key issues that, in any vibrant multi-party democracy, there always has to be a vibrant opposition. And of course, then the last one is the deficient legal framework. Not the last one, sorry, it's one, I'm still continuing in summarizing the key issues. One of them is the deficient legal framework for coalition arrangements. There is no definite, or should I say, there is no clear legal framework on how coalition arrangements should work. And therefore, this brings a lot of issues when disagreements arise in coalitions. And maybe now we could also talk about that to see if we should actually consider coalition agreements. Then there's also the need to make the party system genuinely multi-party in practice. We do only practice multi-partyism in theory and not in the actual practice. Then, of course, there's the weak party cohesion and loyalty. We see during elections, people moving from one party to another. So it's also important that to ensure that there is party cohesion and loyalty. And then there's also the lack of explicit party ideologies. Some of these parties which do not participate in the parliamentary elections or actually in the general elections do not stand for, or they do not have very unique ideologies. Then there's, of course, the other one, which is the less democratic and political and civic culture. Now, of course, we know that a democracy is supposed to be practiced in a way that it's not only done, but it's seen to be done. But we know in Kenya sometimes democracy is not actually practiced in a way that people feel that all that is happening in the political space is actually democratic. Then there's the strong ethnic identities in major parties. We know that some parties or I could say most of the parties largely identify with certain ethnic groups, and this brings about, let me say, friction when certain members of an ethnic group want to join this party, but yet they feel that there's a dominant ethnic group in that party. So there are some best practices which we could consider in order for multi-party democracy to work. And maybe now we could talk about the regulatory framework for parties. So there is a need for a legal mechanism to provide for the regular review of performance of parties in order to deregister inactive ones when they fail to participate and win seats. As I've said, there's no need of just having many parties to show that you are a multi-party system. These parties should actually be participating in the election cycle. Then, of course, public funding of parties should selectively target major parties to ensure institutionalization. Yeah, and then an effective administrative mechanism should be legally created to monitor and routinely supervise parties and the officials and ensure adherence to the law, party constitutions, rules and procedures. Now, as I've said before, there is little compliance with the laws and regulations that relate to political parties, and therefore there should be an administrative mechanism in which the office of the registrar of political parties is able to regulate the manner in which political parties function internally. The Political Parties Act should also be amended to strengthen the office of the registrar of political parties and to give it more teeth to rein in parties. So as I've said, the ORPP needs to be given more enforcement laws to be able to handle some of the issues that arise in political parties as regards to compliance to the law. Then the current fast past the post-electoral system should be replaced by the mixed member representation to enhance inclusiveness of parties, groups, and interests in the legislature. Of course, if we focus on one type of political system, for example, the proportionate representation system. It also has its challenges. So the best way is to have the strengths of both the proportional representation system and the fast past the post, so that we can enhance the inclusivity of the certain parties and groups in the legislature. Then the role of the leader of the official opposition party should be entrenched in the constitution to provide for adequate resources and deter unlawful defection of the opposition to government. Now, that's the current situation in which Kenya is in, that there is no official leader of opposition, and because now we saw that there was a handshake, and now they are part of government per se, and there is no clear distinction on who is actually in the opposition. Then non-parliamentary parties should be deregistered and their members encouraged to join and strengthen parliamentary parties. As I've said, of course, if a party is just a briefcase party, there is no need for it being in existence. Then there is need for a specific law on coalition building to regulate the formation and management of coalition arrangements and to safeguard party ideologies and platforms and ensure that voters make right choices amongst competing parties and formations to stabilize coalition governments and strengthen partner parties. So, of course, as we've said, there is no defined legal framework for the coalitions, and it is important that coalitions actually operate in a state in which there is a clear legal provision on how they are supposed to conduct their affairs. The political market should also determine the right number of parties. I assume that this could be meaning that political the parties which are being formed should not just be formed for the sense of saying that Kenya is a multi-party democracy, but should actually take into consideration the current political climate and market. Then major parties should be encouraged and supported to compete democratically to become dominant and hegemonic. And then parties should be encouraged to identify and cultivate credible socio-political support bases. And key party officials should provide leadership to consciously sort out party wrangles when they arise and to formulate party policies and strategies consultatively. And parties should also be encouraged to define concretely their ideologies to provide a consistent basis for formulating key party policies. As I've said, some political parties do not ride on any ideology, and it's therefore even difficult to associate one with such political parties because one does not understand the exact ideology that such parties run under. And then political and civic culture should be democratized to create a conducive environment for parties to thrive. And parties should be encouraged to desist from ethnicizing politics and ethnic affiliations. So that is the general, let me say, outline of multi-party democracy in Kenya. But now maybe we could shift the discussion to the KANU context. Are we operating in a space where we are actually abiding with some of the provisions of the Political Parties Act? Are our institutions, or let me say rather, the internal organs of the party functioning well? Is the party ideology well communicated to the members? So I could throw this back to Oscar so that he could continue with the discussion. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Atieno. I think from there, then now, the next point is that I would throw this, as one Abubakar says, throwing a spanner, but rather would maybe put it again that maybe now our conversation should be just from how it started. Then I'm seeing that from 2013 to date, there is that gap. You see, from 2013, there were 59 political parties, and to date we are having 71. We don't know how many are still being registered and all that. So then the question I would pose here, first of all, is we as KANU, should we be worried? And if not, then the next would be, how well prepared are we? That is number one. And I would want us then to connect it too with our performance. Probably if we look at, probably not the previous, but even just to do the last general elections, 2017. So then we are also, I think in this congregation, we have Abubakar, who also was a member of the elections board. How I wish you'd have also had the director of elections and job worker, the party organizations in this kind of discussion. So then we should also be able to know then how well did we perform in the last general elections, and or rather how many people did we put out there and what did we get? And moving forward then how many are we, or rather how, just what I was posing again, how well prepared are we? Then is, should we have, like, for instance, I think in a rough figure, probably you see we managed to have one governor. I don't know how many gubernatorial contestants we had out there. Then the senatorial, we have 3. How many did we put out there to, at the end of the day, to have 3? Bringing it down to the members of parliament, now we are currently at 10. The MCAs nationally, we have 63. So then now these are the questions that we should pose, but then Abubakar would also help us in this, in this also this discussion. Then now I think I would just open up the floor, and then we can just discuss for now then within those areas. So the question again was, having heard from that at the rate at which political parties, the number is rising up, then now the question should be to us, do we think like we are well prepared to do, or are they a threat to us that we should be worried, or whatever it is? Then Abubakar again would also lead in still that same conversation and probably take us through just from 2017. Let's not even try to go back to 2013. So from 2017, then again, how did we perform? How do we think we want to perform in the next coming general elections in 2022? So the floor is open.
Hey, jambo everybody again. Hey, the back is with me again. Washington, umenitupia kali bwana. Now we are talking about multi-party state of multi-party democracy in Kenya today. Although I've been asked a question, based on 2017 election, I'd just like to go back kidogo nyuma. Throughout the years from independence, 2002, KANU had everybody in parliament. Name it, we were there in our hundreds. Come 2002, we had about 65 MPs in parliament. After that, 2012, we parted ways with the current president, who formed that TNA sometimes in April of 2012. We went down, it drastically went down because all our structures moved to TNA with this guy. So we basically had a limited number of representation in parliament. We maintained about 10 MPs. 2 against senators and 1 nominated. Then 2013, and a very limited number of MCs. 2017, it was something unique. Our party had picked. We had about over, in total, we had about over 1,400 aspirants. Yes, aspirants, which was brought down to 1,000 and something candidates. We got a full govern county, that is West Pokot County. It's supposed to be under the management of a KANU governor. We had another one which just slipped our fingers, Samburu. Just slipped. It was supposed to be ours, but something happened. Just slipped. Currently, KANU is doing so well. Our undoing was the position up there. We had no presidential candidates as such. So we were actually supporting the current president. And a lot of our guys went to the Jubilee. I can say this for certain. There are 3 MPs seated in that building, Parliament building, who had registered with us as our candidates, and they were fully as our candidates, but they left and went and formed a funny party. Sorry, I'm using that word, and they are now seated in that parliament. You can name them if need be. Currently, we have 2 senators. We maintain that elected and 1 nominated. About 10 to 11, I believe 10 MPs and 62 MCS. We are growing. The majority of our MPs are only found in the pastoralist area, but our 62 MCS are all over, scattered all over most counties. We are there. In fact, we missed one in Bungoma by whiskers. We were getting it. We are doing good. As of today morning, we've got heavyweights coming to us who are ready to go for bigger seats. And they are seriously asking us, how prepared are we? Our leader has been going out. And people coming to us. They're coming, registering with us, and they're ready to face it. I won't name names. Some are wanituambia tungojee kidogo, but some are fully registered with us. People who can change the layout of MPship and senatorship in this country. We hope and we believe we maintain the same, as we are soon crossing a bridge, which are we vying for that one there. That will be our best step. All ingredients put together, yes, we are going for it. But that bridge we are yet to come and cross it. But we'll come to that bridge when time comes. KANU today is a shadow of the 80s, the 90s, represented KANU. But God willing, KANU will get there. They took a fresh ideology we are practicing. They took a fresh people. The people within KANU are not the old guys who are there then. With whatever happened then, most of them are these other guys you are seeing there. Yes, 2017, we backed Uhuru, the current president. He came to our NDC now at Kasarani, and we assured him of our votes. And yes, we managed it. We gave him. Some people outside there are saying we didn't do anything because the DP is from a particular area. The DP now is somewhere else. People are not understanding him. But our leadership, our leader, because of the BBR signatures, he brought in from that particular area quite a number of guys signed. That's an indicator that we are able, we've got the means, and we are focused. Yes, with no uncertainty, we are getting there. We are getting there. The people who are voting today, and most of the people in this gathering are people who are new, vibrant, ready to learn, and throwing their hearts into the ring. You can mention people by name, and you'll be certain that we are going to make it. God willing, we will be there. Thank you very much. I think I've finished.
Well, I think the floor is open. Abubakar, thank you for that. It's just an open discussion. So then I would just urge all of us to contribute into it.
Okay, this is Betty Adera. Allow me to go next because I just learned of this webinar a few just before I joined in, and I could only afford an hour due to work commitments. So allow me to make my comments, and then I will respectfully leave the meeting because I need to attend to other things. Thank you so much, CMD, for this very crucial opportunity for us as a KANU party to look inwardly and interrogate ourselves on our journey, where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are going. Great thoughts from Atieno, from Washington, from Abubakar, and I want to believe, several other speakers who will give their thoughts after me. But taking it from where Abubakar has left it, the question is, should we be worried if other political parties come? My response to that is no. In fact, the more they are coming, the better for us. It will only reflect just how strong we are as a political party and as the party of independence. And there's no other party really that can come right now before 2022 and try to marshal, the kind of grassroots and nationwide presence that KANU as a party has, and we are the only ones with that particular clout. However, we live in a democratic space and people have rights, so anyone who feels like registering a political party, is free to do so. And to my knowledge, there are some other smaller ones who are then registering, then they want to, approach the big ones like us to see if opportunities for coalitions, can happen. And people only come to you when there's value that you have, that you can offer to them. So for me, I am not worried. For the time that I have been a member of the KANU party, I have seen, great strides and progress made in strengthening the institutions, in the registration, of membership, in revising even of the party constitution itself. And really, who does that? If you look at compare us with other big parties around, are they talking about strengthening their own constitutions? I have not heard. Are they talking about, are they strengthening their constitutions? No. Are they strengthening, their institutions? It's like neither here nor there. But we in KANU, we are very specific and we are very deliberate and articulate at what institutions we are strengthening and how. So if I can just give an example, from the KANU Women Congress, as an institution of the KANU party, we can only get stronger every day. As I'm speaking now, there is a near final KANU Women Congress training manual for members and also for aspirants. So we are being deliberate at preparing, our women who want to run for various political positions, come 2022. And we're talking about trainings, God willing, that will commence in January next year and go across the country, being done in using a regional model, having trained trainers of trainers, at the regional spaces so that within a region, they have their own cohort of trainers. Number two, there's the strategic plan that I am leading a research and policy committee in making. And this is the strategic plan for KWC for 2021-2022. And God willing, after 2022, we will go back and look at it, interrogate it, and expand it now for a five-year period. Show me which other political party is doing that. And to that, we really appreciate the partners that have had confidence to work with us. If you look at strengthening of the branch structures, and this is a countrywide movement, actually, the branches, the sub-branches, be it the mainstream, be it the youth wing, be it the women wing, all these things, conversations and progress is being made every single day on how to strengthen them, right from branch level to sub-branch to ward, and even to polling stations. So for me, I'm thinking that we are in a good place, but we will not be wise if we become complacent at, oh, we are in a good place, so let us sit. No, there's still a lot of work that we all need to appreciate that needs to be done, with everyone putting their effort at whatever level they can, supporting right from the party leader now that he is out, selling the BBI message, in one county after another, and God willing, by end of February, he will have transected the entire country. And remember, at that time, Kenya will be now ready for the referendum. So for me, I'm just saying we cannot relent. We need to, in our own little spaces, go out and help recruitment of members, because a party is only as strong as its members. A party is only as strong at how many members it has, even if it is just the registration Ilia 100 bob. But if we can have 10 million Kenyans, registered of 100 bob, in KANU as a party, that is where our strength will sit. In terms of numbers, our strength will sit. In terms of our voices, and our strength will sit in terms of the urgency for women and youth matters in Kenya. So I rest my case there, but I will beg to leave in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Could we hear from somebody else? Hey, KANU bana. Shamim, can we hear?
Yes. I've been listening to the presentation that has been made, and following what has been said. I think for now, I can't say much, but rather I'll have suggested that in terms of getting public opinion from members of KANU, you can, the party through its leadership can send some sort of survey to get just what members feel about the state of democracy internally. And when I'm trying to reason with what has been said, I'll first and foremost, I'd like to say that we still have some work to do in regards to just making sure our presence is felt at the grassroots level. Because I know Betty has mentioned how we really need to support grassroots support in terms of numbers, so that we can get as many people as possible to be part of this party. But again, we still have a tendency of, it's just a mindset among us, especially Kenyans at large, that you rather vie with a political party that is popular. And so even for me, speaking from Mombasa, I'll say that we already know which is this popular perceived party in my area. And we already have political parties have zoned their spaces, it's their stronghold. And I think for us, we still have some work to do. Then do we balance between already perceived stronghold areas across the country? We know there's this as a select area that is perceived to belong to this political party. And so for us, we need now to work on diluting what is already a stronghold, and see how then do we find our space in such spaces. And then after listening to what the presenter talked about in regards to party structures, I feel like there's just so much happening. And talking as a young person within the party, I know there's a lot happening within the KWC. And I think it's high time KYC as the youth structure should borrow a leaf from what is happening, so that young people across across the country that are members of KANU can feel part and parcel of the whole process. I think it's one thing to, to belong to a political party and also be actively engaged in matters such as this when it comes to collecting public opinions, or rather members' views in regards to how they feel about the whole process. And it will be ideal for the leadership of KYC. I think we really need to see how then do we revamp our activities so that we get members of the larger KANU engaged. And Atieno has talked about that there's the tendency of rather large political parties. And personally, I don't see that they're big political parties, but it's more of a popular party that anyone would want to associate themselves with. And I think KANU is that popular party that really is really working so hard to have that nationwide presence. So I think for us, we still have some work to do. When we are talking about trying to strengthen our grassroots support, Ukunyanjani, then it will be so important for us to see how then do we get more support from everyone, especially those who are willing to join the party and support the cause. And when it comes to issues around, how then do we channel issues or anything that we feel like is going to strengthen the whole thing. Personally, I see they still no a clear communication framework within the party. And this is my opinion, because at some point in time you feel like you really need to talk to somebody and just share some opinion which can really support the party. But then the structures are really not laid out to members like me who are in a position to make views or share my thoughts in regards to everything that is there. So I think going forward, we really need to work on the communication structures so that we're in a position now to get public views and thoughts, insights from all and sundry. That is from my end.
Thank you, Shamim. I think from what you've got from rather your speech, I was actually able to capture the need for us to do our SWOT, which I think would be very, very key on our end. But then as it goes on, then I'm seeing Sophia Katampoi is here. Sophia was actually also a candidate in the last general elections. And then I would also just twist it, her being a candidate then, and remember we are talking about also 2022. So probably I really want to hear Sophie's point of view in all this. Sophie. Sophia. Well, I guess in the wale she's not able to. Anyway, could we hear from somebody else? KANU mzima. Yes.
Hello, how are you?
Sorry.
This is Pamela Ateka. Can you hear me?
Yes, Pamela,
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much. I'd just like to answer just a bit and a bit of the questions like, should we be worried that other political parties have come? For me, I would say no. The more they come, the merrier. And should KANU form coalitions going forward into 2022 elections? I think yes, we should form coalitions with other strong parties, but the question would be like which parties, and we should actually like look at these coalitions being with parties that have a lot of millennials in them, and who can actually articulate our agenda and can bring the vibrancy that is needed, because there's a constituency of youths that need to come in and be with us. KANU should also I'd like also to answer the question about ethnicity and how what role it has to play in political parties. I feel that positive ethnicity is good. And as we all know, all politics is local, and all change is local, and then it becomes national and global. So we should not do away with positive ethnicity. We should embrace it and make it inclusive of others in other regions. So basically that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. I don't know if Sophie can still get us. And while conversation is going, yes?
Can I say something from Isiolo?
Yeah, sure, Rehema.
Rehema, good afternoon, everyone. I was having challenge of network, but I was able to hear virtually what others are saying. I can't agree more. I hope I'm audible enough to be heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying I can't agree more from the earlier speakers. I think KANU as a party is an old giant. People call it sleeping giant, but I don't agree to that. It's only some levels of vibrancy which is needed, of which with the new tax, forces in place, and with the new structures in place, I'm sure the giant is going to be awake. And maybe if I add, especially from where I sit, what is really needed, because the CV of KANU is still there. KANU is a party which is not swelled. You know, most of the parties are swelled. You know, the names are not that good. But KANU, despite it being silent, I think the name is as good as before, especially in our place. What is really needed here, specifically, is maybe now trying to maybe restructure it again and again before 2022, so that the brand really comes up, especially in our places. You know, there are no offices. There are no, the old guards are there. They don't even, they are not vibrant. So the new forces which wants to come on board, so the structures are not that inclusive. They don't need people to come in. So maybe our work is a lot of work here for us, maybe to bring in the new blood, to the vibrant blood into the system, so that in as much as we have the old thinking and all the schools, who have maybe wisdom and maybe guidance, but we need also people who can vibrantly run the party, because we need new forces in place, so that at least we can run, we can get very vibrant politicians in place by 2022 and recapture our old glory, because I know the glory is there. It's only we only need to brush it up and maybe now redeem our names again. So otherwise, mine is just saying we do our SWOT analysis very well. We see where we need to revamp, where we feel we need to add some forces. And I think it doesn't need a lot of efforts. It's only that we just want to do our SWOT analysis very well and bring our heads together. I'm sure party is a place to be. Our party is a place where people feel home come 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Rehema. I don't know. There's Nairobi guy here. I'm seeing Damon Osawa here from Nairobi. Probably, I think they've also been people who are trying to make the visibility and name it all KANU up there. So again, we would maybe want to hear from Damon Osawa, and that would maybe also lead me to the next conversation that I would bring in Atieno back. And this is on the issue of coalition. Now, if you pick it from where Abubakar had earlier stated that in 2017, KANU convened an NDC, and this is where actually now KANU was like really made up that they were gonna support Uhuru. But then come this year, early this year, we saw where now not doing the formal agreement and the signing and everything. So then that means now KANU is in the Jubilee coalition. And now that would be, remember now in our outline, there was the coalitions and their impact on multipartyism in Kenya today. So probably I think that would now lead us probably to the next question. Today, KANU is in Jubilee government. How do you feel about it? Are we comfortable or not? And probably now this would now lead to probably what some of you have just said, that yes, you are open to forming coalitions and all that. So probably is there something that even as at now that we are actually in a coalition, and how is it, and what maybe are we foreseeing in the future? So I don't know, Damon, probably you could go, then I'll allow Atieno to come in.
I'd like to say something after Damon, please.
Oh, sure, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
I
Oscar?
can. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank you so much. My name is Damon Osawa Jonah. That is my political name that is well known in this city. Jonah Kiongozi. I'm the chair of Nairobi. After hearing all that members have discussed, there is some 2-3 things about KANU. One, KANU being that it is an independent party that made this country to be where it is today. It's a room that everyone wants to visit. I agree. And I want to agree with the speaker that has just left, saying that I think it's Shamira or someone from Isiolo, and my sister from Mombasa also, that the SWOT analysis is only that what we need. And apart from that, I want to agree, because the room has been given by the party chair, that to the young task, just to revamp the party. 2 things that are giving me motivation so that we see how to approach 2022 is, 1, the opportunity that the party chair has given to young people. That is 1. 2, by seeing what the chair is doing and the eager that the chair has, by even bringing and revamping, even giving out the new structure within the secretariat, is something that amazed me and gives me more morale, to talk to young people and bring them and tell them the better and the goodness of the party that we are advocating for, KANU. Bringing in NMC, the National Management Committee, in a committee where you can even share what you think, you can give your opinion, and it's be listened. So that is what we need basically in a party like KANU. Secondly, I heard what Abubakar said. I heard what even Betty Adera said. And like what you saw yesterday when we were having our Nairobi delegates meeting, where we are yesterday. From the look of things, you can judge, you can judge what KANU is by hearing what Kina Esther Passaris are talking about KANU, Senator Sakaja, what they're talking about KANU, Ruben Dolo, or Governor Waititu, and the rest, to all of us, So I just want to urge that all of us as young people, we just need to come together sit together, bring all the expertise that we have, all the strength and energy, so that we can make this party great again. Because I'm hearing that this is the biggest elephant that is asleep. I'm telling you, even the elephant is not sleeping. The only thing that happened is that the elephant hibernated somewhere. But because of the huge body that the elephant has, you know, itajulikana tu ya kwamba ikandovu kiko hapa. So I would just say and love to say that let's come together, you know, let's build the structures, activate the structures. You know, when my sister from Isiolo is saying that, you know, the older guards, the veterans, they want to hold the positions, you know, and we agree. The time is not on their side. The age, even the energy is not on their side. It is on the young people's side. So they need to give space, be at the back, give the young people those wisdom and vision so that we can take this party back. About having many parties in place, around 70, 80 parties in place, that's not a worry. That's happened because of our laxity. So basically, me, I'm saying that I have all the hopes that come 2022, I want to give a good example in this city, Nairobi, that KANU will emerge by having so many seats, member of parliament, MCS, and I can tell you, we can even have the governor and the Senate, the two senators in this city, Nairobi. So this should replicate to 47 counties. So let's put our energy together. Let's pray as we make it. Thank you, Oscar. Oscar.
Yeah. Thank you, John. I'm waiting. There's somebody else had requested to talk.
Yes. Yeah. So in regards to if coalitions are good, should we go for it? I believe the coalitions give room to dialogue, to negotiate, to work together. And for us as a party, it will give us an opportunity to balance up and seek for positions in spaces or in regions that are not really our stronghold. And for me, I feel this will be an opportunity for us to get political positions in county assemblies and the National Assembly. But again, the big ask is what's our stake? Where can we then balance the numbers so that come 2022, we have more seats in both Senate and the National Assembly and also the county assemblies at large. So I think it will be an opportunity for us to explore and see how then do we move forward in regards to coalition building for the benefit of the party at large. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Chamim. Thank you, Jonah. Just hearing, and then now let me put it again this way as I invite Atieno. Now, look at it today, because I believe we as KANU, we also still have this baggage with us that we are trying to probably put aside and whatever it is, and to move on. And then here we are again, going in this coalition that equally has got its own baggage that is there, but you realize again that today now, being in it, so we equally carry again another baggage. So then I want us to also probably, while we look at probably now, as Josephine, as Chamim puts it, probably we look at also the benefits, but I also want us to look at it in that manner, because again, while you go out there to KANU, at the same time you are Jubilee. The Jubilee government with their promises, the failed promises, and all that. So let's try to just think out loudly and see. So those are some of the things. Well, I was saying that when now we are in these coalitions, giving an example with the current situation that we are in Jubilee government. So then this should now be like an eye opener to us. And then now let's try to think of what are we foreseeing in the future coalitions are probably maybe. But then now Atieno can pick it up and then continue with that conversation.
Yeah, thank you, Oscar, for that. And as we're talking about coalitions, I explained the meaning of coalitions earlier, that coalitions are basically arrangements in which parties work together to win or retain power. And, you know, coalitions, of course, can be of different kinds. And it's important for us to understand, even as we're in this coalition, what is the purpose of this coalition, or what are some of the gains in this coalition, and actually, do coalitions strengthen multipartyism in Kenya? When I was making this presentation on coalitions and the effects of multipartyism in Kenya, I alluded to the fact that sometimes coalitions can be detrimental to the strengthening of parties. So it's important for us to understand whether these coalitions are actually beneficial. And now I will open up the floor, maybe for everyone to be able to give their perceptions on the coalition that KANU is in. Anyone? Doreen, what do you think of the coalition KANU is in? Hello? Okay, maybe I will ask Maureen Gishana.
Hi, Atieno,
Maureen?
can I say something about the coalition of KANU? Hello?
Anyone else?
Atieno, can I say something about the coalition of KANU now?
David?
Yes, Damon,
David
continue. We're
Simiyu?
listening.
Okay. The coalition that KANU is a very
Guys,
coalition.
let's give our opinions on this coalition. Share your opinions on what you think about the coalition.
Hello? Can I say something? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, this is John again. I think about the coalition that KANU is in with the Jubilee. It's a good one, but only that my concern is the coalition can only be seen at the top cream positions, but down to Mashinani, the Mashinani people doesn't feel or felt or feel the coalition benefits. So what is it that we can do so that all of us as KANU members, we can be feeling that we are part and parcel of this? That makes me say that coalition should be having an agreement. Whenever that you go in a coalition, we need to have an agreement that is all inclusive, not by only principals or leaders, but to all members of a particular party. That is all that I think. Like now, we can only feel this coalition, the KANU Jubilee coalition, by seeing our top cream leaders up there, seeing them on the TVs. Some, like for example, or our majority leader at the Senate, National Senate. But apart from him, apart from our chair, and maybe some few, you can't hear anyone. So what about the common mwananchi? What about our MCS? What about our MPs? What about any other person who is a member of KANU? What is it? What is the benefit of him or her in the coalition? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that input. And it's important, as you've said, that the element of inclusivity is felt all the way from the top leaders to the grassroots level. And also maybe anyone else could chip in and talk about maybe the representation of now KANU in the coalition government, do you feel that KANU is well represented? Shamim?
Yes, are we talking about the current coalition between that is between His Excellency and the former opposition? Because personally, what I'm seeing is KANU is not really seen up there, much as we are talking about a coalition. I'm seeing two leaders from different angles, and as a party, much as probably if we signed into it, and this is something that I'm hearing now, but the fact that we are in this is not really felt. You know, being just this ordinary citizen, and thinking how then do we see ourselves in coalition, and then what then do we pick up and benefit as a party. I saw there at some time back there were some few appointments that were given unto us, which is a good thing, but it's really needs to translate huku nyanjani, you know. And so personally, I'm seeing ourselves much as we are in the coalition government, but it's not really felt, you know. I'm seeing it's just two parties from, you know, different ends that have come together to work together for the sake of Kenyans, but not really us being felt at the top level, and not even ukuchini. So going forward, I think that should be a warning, or rather a lesson to learn for the party going in when we plan to sign into agreements, let's say 2022 post 2022, then what's our space, you know. I think it's good when I know I sign something and I know this is what I'm going to get at the end of the day, rather than just be left in the cold. This is the situation I'm seeing, and it's really needs to send that signal that it's high time we really need to play our cards so well when we plan to work closely with, let's say, ruling governments in future, if we're not going to field presidential candidates who are going to for the top positions, so that our presence at the top level can be felt and then trickle down huku nyanjani. Yeah, that's what I feel about the whole situation right now. We are not yet there. In hatuko tu tumesign, but hatuko tu.
Thank you, Shamim, for that. Maybe Abubakar could also share his views on the same.
Now. Coalition. We are talking about sorry for that. A problem occurred. Now, coalition. What is a coalition? This is a formal arrangement for political parties to work together to win power or to retain power. Now, KANU in Jubilee. Let's be realistic. Jubilee is a formation of 11 parties, which were totally dissolved to create Jubilee. Then they came to us, they begged us to support them in the the presidential. And we did that, not minus their DP. Their DP was not party to it, was kind of Aliogopa, because he knew he was getting another leader who could do things without him. So during the formation of that government, we got something small, very little. But as it continues, as of today, a lot of our guys are somewhere, not being CSS, but as CASs, in the boards of management of different parastatals, we are there. We are there as MDs in some of these places, Kanu. The expectation of this going down to the layman, I don't think it meets the criteria of formation of a coalition. We want to run the government. We basically know about a certain shadow government known as civil servants. If it's getting people to be employed there, that's something else. But making decisions, we are there. We are there. Believe you me, we are there. Kanu is there. And there's a problem of why not me? You know, COVID taught us to be selfish. But during this time, COVID was not there. So we were not selfish. We actually spread out to everybody. Kanu is the party, is enjoying the coalition we are having with Jubilee. We are independent party in this. The others dissolved. ODM came in a big way. We cannot really point it, but it's there. It is good for us. Currently, it's good, and in the future, if need be, it's good. Do remember, we are the oldest party within Kenya. We are the oldest. We learned and moved on. Tulifundisha wa Kenya juu, wakasema juu zaidi. No party in Kenya have given us another phrase other than juu or juu zaidi ama juu kabisa. So this time, God willing, we'll get into partnership if need be with others, and we'll show you them now ni tunaenda mbele. Atueli tena juu. We're already there. Sasa tunaenda mbele. Lakini njia gani? We will inform you that. The leader will inform us that when time comes. Remember, I told you there's a bridge. We are not yet there at the bridge. Jonah says something very nice. Down here, we are not being felt. I don't think with everybody being in this basket of coalition now, everybody's there. We don't have a figure known as opposition in this government. Everybody wants to have a part of the cake. So what I suggest, let's be focused. Let's stay focused. Let's learn who our friends are and at what stage we'll need them. Because we'll need coalition at two stages, prior to election and after election. Prior to election is when we sit down with like-minded parties and we say, this is the way we want to go. If they come on board, so be it. After election, maybe we are missing out, or somebody else is missing out. We can have a coalition there. Mind you, let's have a written coalition with established facts. If we do this, we get this, we do this. We get this, you get this. That's the idea. Put it in writing. You know, I told you, we know, we've been there, but there are places we've not been. If I may borrow NASA. NASA, some party within the coalition of NASA are making noise vis-a-vis the pie at the Register of Public Party registration. What are they saying? They are saying you should give us something from that pie, from that cake you are getting from a Register of Political Party. But the criteria of getting that is by a number of votes casted, which you gained. And their bigger person, bigger brother is saying, we got everything. Where we put a candidate as an MP or as a governor or as an MCA, you did the same. So you actually took votes from us, because you see some places they were fighting among themselves. Number one is the bigger brother. Number two is the second brother. Whereas they could have put all those votes into one basket. Now they will be right saying it was our position. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we are not there. We voted Uhuru. Uhuru came to our NDC and asked his support, and we guaranteed him our support. He is the sitting MP, but we did not go for the pie. We did not have a clause about the pie. If you go in, do we get part of the RPP, Register of Political Parties pie? No, we didn't do that. That is our undoing. That is our undoing, because down here we won't feel it. We are doing what we are doing as KANU guys, you know. Our leader have been going out lately, and we have a lot of people coming on board. Like-minded parties are calling us, are talking to us. We believe our future is bright. We believe we'll get in coalition with learned people. Like you see the people we are having, sincerely. Look at Atieno, what she's doing to us today. She's actually taking us to things 10 years ago, at her age, or somebody her age, your chance but she's doing it. And there are so many like her. We can call people here and say, look at her, look at him. They are doing things. These are the think tank, the think tank of CANU, giving us new ideas to co-fresh. Thank you. I think nimemalizia hapo. Oscar, you can have one, please.
Yeah, so as we've heard from Abubakar and also Shamim about their perspectives on coalitions, it is important that, as we've said, that we are focusing on inclusivity, and of course we should ensure that inclusivity is felt from the grassroots up to the top leadership. And of course, as Abubakar has rightly put it, that opportunities that were not available before are now available in KANU. And maybe now, as we close this discussion on coalition, anyone who could give us their final thoughts on the same?
Hello.
Yes?
Oh, I'm Charles.
Okay.
Yeah, mine was a question.
Go ahead.
Hello? Yes, when you look at the coalition in terms of the long term and short term.
Yes.
Is there some kind of a way you can be able to have such kind of a prediction? The short term and long term effects of coalitions. The long term in the
short term and long term?
Yes.
Like the effects of the long term and short term coalitions?
Yes.
Okay, maybe we could discuss that in taking into account the positive and the negative impacts of coalitions. You see, generally, coalitions actually, let me say, diminish the voice of opposition parties, because as we can clearly witness it right now, there is no strong opposition, you know. So maybe if Abubakar could kindly shed light on that, on the effect of short-term and long-term coalitions, because I think they both impact the political climate differently. And maybe for those who have participated in forming these coalitions could actually maybe just shed some more light. Abubakar?
Madam, leo mnaniingilia. No. Long-term effects in coalitions, there are no long-term effects. Mwenye kula ni kula sasa, la kesho amekula nini. Long-term effects is just being able to be there, assisting the government, making decisions, and our party, or that other party, be visible in making its mandate known to the people, and working towards its achievement in the manifestos. That's the long term. Short term is the individual members of our party or other small parties or parties in the coalition to benefit. One way being nominated in government establishments or being seated on the table making decisions. For the individuals, if we can have most of our guys, this is short term, in strategic places whereby they establish themselves and make themselves known and be able to have a long-term individual goals of either vying or learning the process of the government. Individually, I'll give you a good example. You see the people who are nominated were taken as CAS by these young guys, the youths who are taken there. This is ample time for them to learn. Those things are short term. In the next 5 years, they're gone. As an individual, you're gone. But you have to make yourself known for you to gain, to learn what is happening. In the panel we're having today, somebody like Diamond, if Diamond was given a post, say, in the Ministry of Health today, you will have learned what's happening within the COVID, the strikes, and how to deal with the strike in future. So in future, him as an individual will have benefited. But again, him or me or anybody else, I'm talking now about the party, is not cemented, is not casted on stone in Kanu. He can go elsewhere. Maybe tomorrow he can form his own party, but he'll have had the knowledge while he was there in our party. This, I believe, I don't know if I've answered the question, but I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Abubakar, for that. And now maybe we could wind up by actually looking at what we have agreed at the pointers out of this discussion, that indeed there is need for more inclusivity in the matters of coalition. And of course, the sentiments of many is that the number of political parties that are present in Kenya, it is okay, or they are justified, so that we can compete in a very, let me say, fair ground, and that everyone can, or the electorate can see the strength of the political parties. And of course, as Betty rightly alluded to, the fact that Kanu still has its presence in most of the counties as compared to other new upcoming parties, which of course shows the strength and the zeal of the party. And also we've alluded to the fact that we need to be more compliant with the laws that are regulating political parties, so that we can ensure that our administrative structures are in place. And maybe now the way forward, as I'm handing this over to Oscar, is to actually evaluate the current political climate or the current state of Kanu as we approach the general elections. Are everything that we hope to be in order in place, and are we compliant in terms of the party policies and structures, and what are the certain steps you can make to ensure that we are ready in every way for the upcoming general elections? Thank you.
Thank you, Atieno. I don't know. I was just trying to think what to add so far. All the same, I feel probably we've not really exhausted and the conversation. So probably maybe some other time, this is where we can still create room on time for more of this conversation, because I believe there is really more that we could still try to bring out from this. But then having said that, I would just maybe pass it over to Rehema, maybe who would give us the closing remarks. Then we can probably then hand it over back to CMD. Yeah. So Rehema, please.
Thank you, Oscar, for giving me this opportunity. It has been a very good discussion. It makes us happy. We feel good when good things are being discussed about our party, because this is a party we feel is a party which needs to just redeem its glory, and from the environment and from the way things are going in our political environment. Our party has a lot of chance. Our party has the big name. Our party has that good name, for that sake. So I think we are ready to do everything to make our party redeem its name. And I'm sure one thing with these constant discussions we are going to have on Zoom, now that we are in this COVID environment, I think the small issues, the SWOT analysis we talked about, and other issues we need to iron out, is going to be, I think, done, because we'll bring our heads together. And I know we have very good team in KANU who are very vibrant, who are so in terms of learning and other things, they are so upright, so that at least our party will have that big name. So one thing I want to just pass across to everyone in this Zoom meeting is maybe about the coalition. We should think right. Yes, coalition is there. That is the way to go, because for us to get whatever we need to get at the end of it, because in politics you want to get that big seat. Actually, you want to get so many seats in your name. That's what is needed. You want to see your party having flying that big flag in the country, and that's why coalition is there, because without coalition, I think most of these things cannot be gotten, because you see in Jubilee, URP, the other time, they came together and you saw what they did. So, but what we should not forget in coalitions, you go for what is right. One, what is so dear to you. You should be focused, and time is of essence. I think we should mark that one, because we should run with time. We should run with what we want, and we should observe all the legal requirements in entering that. And thirdly, if I may say, we should not maybe put our party to be dissolved, because we dissolve our party today, tomorrow the coalition goes the way it is going to go, and I think we are going to be doomed. So having said that, we are ready. We are ready to revamp all the structures in our counties. We are very vibrant. We are going to even carry the old guards with us, but in a different structure. We form a new structure who are going to run very fast, because of age and wisdom. Will not also put away our old guards in as much as they are becoming a hindrance to most of the activities we are doing, but we'll use an amicable way of accommodating everyone. So I think, I believe everything is going to be put straight with God in place, and I wish with these constant discussions we are going to have, everything is going to be put in place. So I wish everyone a safe time, and thank you for according me this time. Shukran.
Thank you, Rehema. Probably we now hand it over back to CMD. So I don't know if Isaac or Range or Maureen.
Yes, Oscar, thank you so much. Oscar, can you hear me?
Yes, but you are breaking. We can't hear you well.
Thank you so much, Oscar, for the facilitation and the moderation of the session. We are delighted that KANU Party had an opportunity. Okay, I believe now you should be in a position to hear me. Oscar?
Yes.
Can I proceed now?
Yeah, proceed on.
Okay, thank you so much. I was saying we are delighted CM Center for Multi-Party Democracy for the opportunity. The KANU members have had to internally on the status of multi-party democracy, not only in regards to the politics, and we believe that the meeting has provided an opportunity for the party members to continue having the conversation internally so that we can be able to strengthen the structures, that is the senior leadership structures, also the women league structures, and also the structures in regards to young people. So on behalf of the Center for Multi-Party Democracy, we urge the party to continue making good use of the paper that was presented by Professor Mukoa Anangwe, so that we can continue identifying some of the challenges hindering the growth of our party, and also developing solutions to those challenges so that we can the party can be strengthened and can be in a better position to continue competing with other political parties in this competitive political environment. So thank you so much on behalf of Center for Multi-Party Democracy. We are grateful to Oscar. We are grateful to all the participants who have taken their time to be part of this discussion. Asanteni sana, and the members can now leave their own pleasure. Thank you so much.
Asanteni sana, nimeenda.
Kwaheri bwana Abu. Thank you, members. Kwaherini.